Here we go. We're on.
Here we
We're
go.
live. It's
Here we
Thursday.
go.
Lock in your fantasy football picks. Are you ready for a brilliant weekend? And what a brilliant weekend we had. What have you been up to, mate? Give us all of what's going on.
Yeah, I've been watching the games. Obviously, watched the Ireland game. That was an interesting game. I thought the Vikings would have put up more of a fight, but it looked like the Irish fans turned up in their thousands, and all of them were Steelers fans. So
Is that
it was.
is that your excuse for picking the wrong team?
I picked the wrong team.
We'll get into that. What else, mate? How's things? Everything okay?
Yeah, mate. Obviously, it's someone's birthday, so
Yes. We're not talking about Steve, who's yet to rock up, but it's your birthday. Happy birthday, mate.
cheers, mate. Thanks very much.
Did you get anything nice for it?
My daughter brought me a new dressing gown. That was nice. I needed a new one. It's nice and fluffy.
It's getting to that time of the year. Do you know what? I had a Star Wars like Jedi robe dressing gown, and I think I got that about 2012. And my wife made me throw it out last week.
Oh.
Not last week, last year. It was rotten. It should have got it. Well, mate, I've been chocker with work. I had a record month, which is great for me, great for the bank balance. Just doing a few bits and bobs as well. I'm away this week, and it's my birthday this week as well. Like,
it's your birthday,
and it was Steve's birthday. So like all three of our birthdays the same. And we're not even saying that, folks. Like it's full on legitimate. Now we might have a guest or two joining. If not, we're just going to crack on anyway. But yeah, week 4 for me, there was some shocks. There was a draw. What? And there was some stuff that we were expecting. So we're going to go over it. By all means, folks, if you have any questions, you want to say anything, pop up. We are still looking for guests. We've got a few booked in for the next week or two, but after that, come on, tell us what you're doing. Tell us what you're doing off season if you're involved in the Britball aspect of it. But let's get the show rolling.
Do it.
So, week 4, we're going to start off with the Cardinals and the Seahawks. 92% of the public backed the Cardinals to beat the Seahawks, but the Seahawks only just won 23-20. So 92% of the public were wrong, and on a rare occasion, so was I. You and Steve got this one right. Cardinals switching off. Seahawks, they've been a bit hit and miss this season. What were you thinking?
Do you know what? I think the offense is finally coming together. Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba. They're finally clicking. They're finally on the same wavelength. And with Kenneth Walker in the backfield as well, it just proved to be an overwhelming offense for the Cardinals to handle. And yeah, I don't know what's going on with Kyler right now. He has hot flashes, but he just seems to be that sort of average Joe at the moment, and I don't think he's sort of taken the Cardinals to where they want to go right now.
I mean, for me, both of these teams we expect to see in the playoffs potentially, but not really. I don't see them going fit. I don't see them either of these teams being the Super Bowl. Watch it happen. Watch them, and me just this clip get drawn back. But no, close game. Good way to start off the week. Move on to the next one, which this one made me tickle. 1 minute, 2 secs. Hello, Coach Russ. Hope you're well, buddy. Do you know what? I think I've got Coach Russ on my Facebook. You will have seen that lovely. I bought my dog the best dog football jersey in the world. And
I'm surprised you haven't shown him on the camera. To be fair, just like
he's downstairs because do you know what? He breathes louder than like a proper big old lineman. But I managed to find a Denver Broncos jersey to fit Frank's fat neck. If anyone follows me on Instagram or any of the social platforms, it's there. It's horrendous, but I love them. Right, we move on to the next game. Ireland, correct? Steelers versus the Vikings. 54% of the public and myself backed the Steelers to beat the Vikings. Again, it was another close game. I wasn't really sure what to expect of the Steelers this season. You know, the QB situation, all that jazz. Well, just oh yeah, you got a happy birthday there from Gemma and Sessions. There we go. I like how she's. I like how.
That's my wife, by the way.
I like. I like how she said happy birthday to you and not to me, so we can just block her from the
I know.
podcast now.
Obviously, it's just yeah.
This is going to be a continued running trend. I'm just not impressed. As Sinead Fain would say, that don't impress me much. All good chomping down a chicken wrap. There you go. I might order food after here. Right.
I've got a Domino's next door. Domino's next door waiting for me.
Delight. Yeah. What are you thinking about this? Because Steelers getting another win on the list. I mean, can he do anything this season?
Do you know what? It's just I was so unsure about this. I really was so unsure about how the Steelers were going to sort of gel with Rodgers in the as the QB, but Metcalf obviously had that absolutely rocking first half. When he caught that ball on the cross and just ran it in for a touchdown. I mean, that's sort of DK Metcalf as of old. That's he's looking alive now, and Rodgers is getting the job done. I don't think the Vikings turned up. I think they may have. I don't know how they travelled to Ireland, but they look like they they struggled. Obviously, they're still here in the UK, and they've got another game this weekend with the Browns. So hopefully the jet lag is we'll see an improved Vikings team. But again, I'm interested in why you picked the Steelers over the Vikings. To be fair,
I just think there's a reason they brought Rodgers in. Look, if that guy walks in the room and I'm a junior wide receiver, I'm going to be looking at him like he's God or something. And we know he's not like that. But there's no denying he's a very, very good QB. Is he a few years past his best? I'm sure he'd agree with you on that one as well. But it's going to be interesting because good history at Steelers. Be interesting to see how they get on. That was my reason for it. But occasionally I can be wrong. But on this turn, I was right. So on to the next one. Another one where I was right again, and you and Steve were wrong. I backed the Falcons, and so did 26% of the public to beat the Commanders. And they did. The Falcons won 34-27. Commanders a bit hit and miss. They started good. They've kind of they've not nosedived because they're playing good teams, but they've not looked good the last two games. But that would be my thing.
Yeah. So I obviously with that we're in a pick'em draft, and I changed my pick from the Commanders to the Falcons in that league after I heard about.
Don't be giving me that, mate.
The wide receiver went down. Mariota was still in QB. There was talks of, I think there was just a few too many injuries on the Commanders team, and to be fair, the Falcons turned up. They brought their A game and they put on a hell of a show. And they definitely deserved that win. It's good to see Kyle Pitts sort of, getting his touchdowns. Bijan, just exposing the holes in the Commanders, and obviously, that's good news for me as an Eagles fan, because obviously we're playing the Commanders, twice this year, and obviously that's just sort of gives us confidence that we're actually going to smash them both home and away. So
yeah,
I'm never going to complain.
We'll see. Look, Commanders need to raise it up. The next few games are obviously really important for them. Move on to the next one. We've got Giants against the Chargers. There's life in the Giants. 76% of the public and all three of us backed the Chargers to win.
Just wait for it. Coach Ross is gonna chirp up in a minute. I know he is.
Yeah, 21-18. There certainly looks like there's life in the Giants. Well, go on, mate. You can go.
Oh, do you know what it is? I mean, I was talking to Steve in the week about this. When I was formulating my power rankings, and the Giants jumped up a few spots. Obviously, the public only see the top 10, but I do a full 32 team power rankings, and
On that note, Denver Broncos are 11th.
The 11th, yeah, not quite in the top 10, but they're on the outside looking in. They're looking good. But the Giants jumped up a lot there. My only fear is this another Tommy DeVito sort of scenario where he replaced Daniel Jones even a couple of years back, and the team rallied behind him. They had that surge, they had a couple of victories, and then things started falling off the edge again. And that's my only concern with this new move with Jackson Dart coming in. Obviously, you've just lost your best wide receiver in the league with Malik Neighbors. Will somebody step up and be the new wide receiver one? We'll
There he is.
We'll see. There he is.
There he is. There's like that choking on his chicken wrap. We won.
Scatterboo.
Right. Quick one on the next one. All three of us and 94% of the public back the Texans to beat the Titans. The Titans are absolutely awful. I'm not sure what's going on there. Yeah, we all expected it. Business done. That's that. On to the next one. This game was actually not as... It was quite close considering the public vote of 80%. And Lee backed his glorified Eagles to beat the Buccaneers. Myself and Steve, we just wanted the Eagles to get beat. Please, goddamn it, happen this weekend. Business as usual for Eagles, throwing touchdowns, all that jazz.
Yeah. It's. I mean, we knew Todd Bowles was going to bring his A game with the defense, and true to his form, he put up some hell of a good blitz packages against Jalen.
Yeah.
But the problem with Jalen is he's calm and composed in the pocket, and he's willing to use his legs if he has to. And when you've got
because you look at it, that core of players you've got there who are getting you them points, like they've been consistent for years.
Yeah.
And like, at what point does it like go down a peg or two? Because how many Super Bowls in the last few years?
So it was 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years we've had.
Staying that good that long, it is very difficult. They are looking good. Do think they'll get beat this weekend though. Right, let's go on to the next one. 70% of the public and myself. Nope, not myself. And Lee and Steve backed the Patriots to beat the Panthers. I saw a glimmer of hope after Panthers shocked us in week 3, and that hope, that hope just gone. It's burnt. It's destroyed. 42-13 by the Patriots. I still think the Patriots are in a bit of a rebuild. You can't really judge them on a win like this. It is a great scoring win, though. It is what it is.
So yeah, I mean, both teams are in the sort of bottom half of my power rankings. The Panthers are.
It's not a fixture that gets you like your blood going. No. Do you know what I mean? Will the Eagles become more hated than the Pats with a running success? I don't think so. I think Tom Brady, like I know people who used to share these rubbish edited clips and they'd be like, Tom Brady would wave his hand and the clock will go back 5 seconds. And it didn't happen. It's just been like edited to like target the stupid people with more fake news. Not that doesn't happen. But I don't think so. I don't. I think with the Eagles, it was the Tom Brady project. Whereas not with the Eagles, with the Pats, it was the Tom Brady project. Whereas with the Eagles, there's a few different major influences. Yeah. So no. I mean, I don't hate the Pats. I hate the Raiders, but we'll get into that another time. But for me, it's just business. This one today. Well, in week 4, Pats 42, Panthers 13. That's that.
It is what it is. I think the Panthers, they're going to get another couple of wins this year, but
yeah,
they're going to be few and far between.
Next up, all 3 of us back the Bills to batter the Saints. And yes, they did, and so did 96% of the public. 31-19. I think we can keep this one a show when we've got some other good games to talk about. Business as usual. Business done. Anything to say?
I don't know. The Saints turned up a little bit, to be fair. I mean, they put on. I don't know if you saw the game, but it got me worried for a second. But
Mate, every time I see that team in that kit, mate, I try not to vom. It is a horrible kit.
it is
Like
gross.
I wear an orange kit. Like mine's orange. Like that should be no one's favorite color. That's worse, and it's way worse.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, Bills doing what Bills do. Could they go all the way this year? Got a great chance. Okay. Next up, all three of us and 90% of the public backed the Lions to absolutely batter the Browns, and yes, they did, 34-10. Not good enough by the Browns. How long can they be this poor for? When was the last time they were up? Yeah, exactly. Business as usual. Should we move on to the next two interesting games?
Let's go for it.
Let's go for it. Okay, so San Francisco 49ers against the Jags. This one for me was a really, really good game. The Jags won 26-21. So 20% of the public and Steve picked the Jags, and they were right. Look, we've said a few times this is like a make or break year for the Jags. Brilliant, like QB spot on. Good win.
It was unexpected for me. I mean, when you get a team traveling into San Fran and they put on a really competitive game, and it was close. I think
Yeah,
if they'd have played that game again another 3 times, you'd have seen a completely different scoreline.
yeah,
But the Jags went there and they showed up, and they got the win that they deserve.
yeah. I mean, it is make or break on a big scale for the Jags. I think if they if they get to the position. Remember when the Broncos got rid of Russell Wilson? Once we knew we weren't making the playoffs, and we benched him, he wasn't playing, all that. I kind of feel like that might happen with these at the end of the season if you get to the point where they're definitely not making the playoffs. Make or break, big year for them.
Trevor Lawrence, Trevor Lawrence is he's still throwing simple interceptions, and is he the right man for that offense?
No.
I'm sure
I like the guy, but I don't think so. Anyway, the Rams, LA Rams, 27-20 against the Colts. I backed the Colts because I think the Colts have granted some good wins this season, especially with some referee help. 78% of the public and yourself and Steve backed the Rams, and you were right. But 27-20, it's not a 2-scoring game by any means, but Rams look good. They always do. But how far can he go? I don't know.
I don't know. It's a great question. They're in my top 5 for the power rankings, and Colts have even though they lost on Sunday, they only just lost. They lost in the last final few seconds of that game, and I think when you put all the scores down, the current standings of the scores, there's 1 or 2 that really shock you. Now, we've got the Ravens, which we'll talk about in a minute, which is absolutely blowing my mind.
Yeah.
But definitely. The Colts are 3-1. I mean, that's just, when everyone's like, oh, Daniel Jones is going to be starting QB, everyone's just like, there's a season that's tanking.
But if you look at some of the wins, like the win they got over the Broncos, they rode the lookout quite a lot on that one. So I was speaking to my mate about this. He's like, "Well, you're 2-2." I was like, "Mate, the 2 games that we'd lost in the final 10 seconds with a field goal."
Absolutely,
that can swing in roundabouts. That can be like,
I mean, it's that whole way on any given Sunday, isn't it? But it's and like I say, with the 49ers and Jags game, you can play that game 10 times, but it's the game that counts that matters. And again, that game with the Colts and the Rams, it could have gone any way, and I think that is showing, the fight that the Colts have. But yeah, I mean, what's Coach Russ is saying there? The Rams have a great love their players. Yeah, they do. They've got some fantastic wide receivers. Puka Nakua, he's looking sharp. Matthew Stafford is just putting the balls on the money.
He's another one that's been consistently good for he doesn't yeah. Right, let's move on to the next result, because this result really makes me happy. Raiders versus the Bears. 82% of the public backed the Bears, and so did all of us three, because we're not stupid. Yep. The Raiders got beat 25-24, and there was tears at the end, but there wasn't from me. I was laughing my head off. Go get it. So yeah, Raiders getting beat again. It gets worse and worse and worse for the Raiders. Bears, they needed that win, to be fair. If I'm being honest, it was a battle of two really poor teams. Bears haven't been great this season. I'm sure any Bears fan will admit that. Raiders have been horrendous. Always surprised. You got any thoughts, mate, or should we just laugh on and move?
Yeah, I mean, Gino. How many picks did Gino have in that game? 2 or 3? I mean,
yeah,
he's
it's
lost
not.
it. He's lost it.
Yeah. Okay. Next one was the shock of the week for me. Chiefs 30, Ravens 20. 70% of the public backed the Ravens to win. Myself and Lee picked the Ravens, whereas Steve, he picked the Chiefs. Listen, Ravens defense is really letting them down. Steve shared some great stats about how bad the Ravens are. I'd love the Ravens QB at the Broncos. I think he's quick, he's rapid. He can throw as well. But Chiefs doing what Chiefs do, getting them wins. Looked good, getting business done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We said it before. How the wide receiver room. We said last week that who is Mahomes thrown to. He had Hollywood Brown and was it Juju Smith? He had those two targets and Travis Kelce, and Kelce, who's by far probably their best receiver, is just being double teamed and smothered.
But the thing is, though, if he's getting double teamed, that means someone else is wide open.
But who's really competing for the ball? Juju was catching some good throws, but you bring Xavier Worthy back and you stretch that field out a little bit more, and then all of a sudden Travis Kelce in the middle of the field's open. Because they've got more threats to worry about. They're not able to man cover every single one of them, and that and I think when Rishi Rice comes back in a couple of weeks, we're going to see the old Chiefs coming back and dominating.
Yeah, because there's a few wide receivers out. They have a great running game, but they're a passing team. And when they come back, that's when you see them going from second, third gear to fourth, fifth. But no, shock of the week for me. Next one, we can't call a draw a game of the week, can we?
Oh my god! Did you watch the game? I mean, it just lasted forever.
We've got a comment here, mate.
BU Bobcats.
What do you think of the? I'll let you go first, not one, mate.
BU Bobcats. I have no idea. I take it it's Bournemouth University Bobcats. I'm
do you know what? I'm not. I don't follow any of the uni teams here. I should do. Busy enough as it is, unfortunately. But if anyone's playing football, I think they're awesome. Apart from the Raiders. Right. Anyway. Cowboys and Packers. It was 40-40. 70% of the public backed the Packers to win. I backed the Cowboys. You and Steve backed the Packers. And you're right, it went on forever and ever and ever, but there was some good plays, some sloppy plays. But after, because didn't Cowboys get beat the first week?
Yeah, they got beat by the Eagles, didn't they?
Yeah. and I was a bit at how they were going to be this season, but they seem to have picked up quite a fair bit. But look, Steve backed the Packers to go 8-0, and since he said that, they've lost one and drew one. Please don't say that about my team, Steve. But it'll be interesting to see how both of them teams get on for the season.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was a great game. It was, although it was really long. There was some really positives to take away from it. Dak Prescott, he's firing on all cylinders, and even without his number one receiver, CeeDee Lamb, he's still managing to get the ball to Pickens, and he's scoring. I mean, Pickens, some of those catches he was making, it's just absolutely unbelievable. So yeah, I mean, whilst CD's out, is there going to be some step up from Tupin and Pickens? Maybe maybe we might see some more weapons coming out of their shell. But obviously, we're putting 40 points on any team. Kind of, you look to their defense and go, well, why are you letting 40 points onto the board? And I think that's where both teams are struggling here is on their defenses.
Yeah. With that score, you're clear you're not going to be a happy DC at the end of that one. I want to go back to a comment someone said before, actually. So, like, someone said, I think it was Coach Russ was like, "Do you think the Eagles will be as disliked as the Pats?" Them Cowboys fans, they get some grief. I've got a mate, Graham. I used to play a crew railroaders, funny enough, and he was Cowboys everything, and he used to get tagged in every Dem Boys meme when they were out or beaten. And he took it on the chin. But can you think of another franchise that gets it worse than the Patriots, the Chiefs, the Cowboys?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love those. How them boys doing.
Oh,
I absolutely love them.
And they get more eventful every year. They get more creative every year. But that's Cap Cut for you. Right. Let's move on to we've got two fixtures left. One of them, the best game ever, by the way. We'll go on that in a minute. But one game, the Dolphins. So I backed the Dolphins to win. You and Steve disagreed and backed the Jets. So did 70% of the public. And guess what? You were all wrong. The Dolphins, they won 27-21. Look, it wasn't the greatest of games. The Dolphins and Jets aren't at the levels that I think they want to be performing at. Anyone telling you different is on drugs. That's that. I don't really.
How many penalties in one game?
Oh, mate.
That's all I'm going to say. I have never seen so many handkerchiefs flying in all my life.
I have when the Lancashire Buccaneers played the Sheffield Giants in the final. Right. On to the last one of the week, and by far the greatest game of the week. Them Denver Broncos 28, the Bengals 3. 94% of the public voted for the Broncos. The other 6%. All three of us backed the Broncos to win. Look, defense, we balled out, but when their QB's missing, yeah. Oh yeah, hold on a minute. Cowboys have the thickest skins ever, from Coach Russ. Not when they get beat, they don't. But yeah, going back to this, I watched the highlights next day. I'm in bed for like 10 o'clock, so there's no danger I'm staying up for these early games. But no, Broncos look good. For me, it was a well-deserved win because the two games, as mentioned before, the two games we've lost this season, it's like you said before, if you play them games 3 times again, it's always going to be different results. That's that. It leads us into next week on this week Sunday, where I think we're definitely going to do very well, but we'll talk about that later on. Wink, wink. You got any comments, mate?
I mean, I think we've covered it. I mean, we've said it. I've said it so many times. Both of us, we're offensive linemen. We know how important that position is on a football team. Yeah. And if you haven't got an offensive line,
I know. So right, I think Steve's coming on in a minute. Right, that video. So for anyone who hasn't seen the video, I'm assuming that the Bengals use a tight end to do some blocking as well, because there's a 6-man line or whatever. So they have 4 guys blocking one guy, and they're just about holding him. And the two ends,
the 2 edges coming around the edge. Oh my god,
it's awful. It's absolutely awful. And and look, Broncos have a really have a great history of having a great defense. They're a defense-win games team. But bloody hell, they're not making it easy for the Bengals at all. Like I think the Bengals QB deserves Player of the Season just for dealing with that O line. They're horrific.
yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's week 4. We're hoping Steve can join us. Steve, if you are listening, mate, hopefully you get signals soon. We get it. We all have lives. But we usually have a guest on to talk this week. We don't. We are open to guests. I think we've got guests booked in for the next 2 weeks. So if you're at a football club, whether it be a uni ball team or a Brit ball team, or you're playing in another country, drop us a message, drop the page message. We'd love to get you on. Find out what you're doing, what your team's doing off season, how players can join your team, watch your team, so on and so forth. But yeah, anyone be more than welcome to jump on. Lee, so when did you start playing, Lee? We've got
So I mean, I started really late on. I was well into my 30s. I was well into my 30s before I actually started playing. So I'm ex-military. So I actually did 12 years of service, and I was a rugby head. From the age of like 10. I've always loved American football. Whenever I got the chance to watch it back on old Channel 4, when they would stream a game, I'd watch it. But I joined the army and I was still rugby head. I played rugby until I left the military, and I wanted to get back into a sport. And I happened to see a poster somewhere. I think it was actually down in Hartford. I was driving through there, and there was advertising an American football team, and I was like, I wonder if they have one around Cambridge. And looked into it, found out that he had a team, and come and joined, and looked at the size of me and like, yeah, you'll make a good lineman, you.
That's the first thing you do when you get. Mate, I started playing in what year was it? 2018. So I moved back. I moved to the States, and I come back, and I was like, right, I'm gonna play American football. I'm gonna give it a go. I fell in love with 3 things while I was over there: food, football, and Shania Twain. And Broncos.
Where's Shania Twain, man? Where does that come from?
Mate, I love Shania Twain. Do you know what? If it comes on, and I've had a bevy, if anyone's ever been on a night out with me, I'm a bit of a cringe, and I don't mind. My wife, not so much. And yeah, I rocked up. I didn't have a pair of boots. I think I had my Toms on, and someone lent me a pair of boots, and that was 2018 at the Horton Spartans, and that was me done last year. Yeah. Right. Let's get to it. Week 5. Some brilliant games. However, there's 2 less games this week, which is quite sad.
Yeah, we've got two buys. We've got 4 teams on a buy, haven't we? So that's 2 less games. So
check your fantasy football teams, folks. At least you're not me, who's picked all of the same players for one team. Week 6 is gonna kill me. Anyway, so the first game to kick off the week is the Rams against the 49ers. I'm going to tell you what the public have voted, what Steve's voted, because he's not here, and what I voted. I won't ruin Lee's. It's his birthday. So, 87% of the public have backed the Rams to slap up the 49ers, as well as me and Steve. I just think the Rams are going to be too good here. I think the 49ers are good, but they're not consistent enough. So I'm going for the Rams.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think the Niners are coming into this with a couple of injuries. Brock Purdy's not starting. We're going to see Mac Jones in at QB again. Juwan Jennings, he's touch and go. Pearsall, again, he's carrying a knee injury, possibly a torn LCL. When these injuries start racking up, and you start losing some of your key players, it really does affect the team. And at the moment, the Rams don't have as many injuries as the Niners, and I think that's what's going to come down to it. it's in the Rams' house. I think that always plays a bit of an advantage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't see any other scoreline unless it's a major shocker and Mac Jones pulls it out of the bag. But I think Stafford's got this, and he's gonna lead the Rams into another victory.
Okay. Well, next game we've got the Browns against the Vikings. 60% of the public have backed the Vikings. I backed the Browns. I must have been really drunk when I did this pick.
I was about to say, you do know this is in the UK, right? So this is the UK. This is one of the first London games. So the Vikings already, acclimatized themselves to the
Yes.
British
Yes.
Isles weather.
Yes.
They're in the time zone. The Browns have only just rocked up. But what can the Browns bring? They've got their defense. Their
I know, mate,
defense
but remember the
is
Brazil.
so good.
Remember the Brazil game when the Chiefs played? I can't remember the Chiefs played first game of the
The
season.
Chargers, wasn't it? That was the
Everyone
time.
was like, the Chiefs was like, look, when you're not playing at your home ground, you're playing in a different country. It's different. It is. It's absolutely different. The air, the climate, all that jazz. Look, these London, Ireland, Mordor, Brazil, all these games in different places. It's anything can happen. So that's my reasoning for picking for picking the Browns. It's
I
going to be a
think
good. I think it's going to be a very good game. By the way, I think
yeah.
I think it's going to be a high scoring game.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to see who's starting at QB for the Vikings as well. Whether it's still going to be Carson Wentz or if JJ McCarthy is going to be coming back.
You can imagine this is the game they want him in for. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm backing the Vikings on this one. I think that whole acclimatization, does make a difference, and I think that's going to edge them into scoring more points than the Browns. I mean, that's the problem the Browns have. They have a fantastic defense, but
it's the offense. It's the offense. Yeah.
I mean, I know we're going to see the new kid playing this weekend as well. So, are we going to see another sort of Jackson Dart scenario with the Giants and him resurging the offense? Let's see.
Next game we've got the goddamn Jets against them boys, the Cowboys. Oh, that's my Amazon package. I really hope my wife gets that. It's a Pokemon card holder. Yeah. She finds out if she watches this. I'm dead, by the way. No Gratian. 89% of the public backed the Cowboys to beat the Jets. Please tell me someone's getting that package. Yes. So 89% of the public backed the Cowboys to beat the Jets. I picked the Jets, so yes, I was consuming alcohol again. Most sure we want to order that Amazon package. And Steve has gone for the Cowboys. Lee, who are you going for?
I've gone for the Cowboys as well. It's as much as it pains me to tell you, the Cowboys are they're cooking.
After that first game, I was a bit like, but they're climbing up now. They're really climbing. I mean, they're going to drop again, but yeah. Right. Next one's gonna be a quick one because it's very predictable. 96% of the public backed the New York Giants to beat the Saints. I've backed the Giants. Steve's backed the Giants. Lee's backed the
Giants.
Yes. Let's not talk about the Saints. Not happening. Another one.
I mean, just one on that one. The Saints are still rock bottom of my power rankings. They haven't moved from there since week 1, and they haven't shown me anything.
Who do you think they can beat this season? Like
no one. I think they are going 0-16 this year.
My mate Denzel's.
0-17. Sorry, 0-17. They're going 0-17. They're not getting a game.
My mate Denzel, he's a sweetheart, by the way. He's a big Saints fan, so I might just need to rub it in a little bit more every week. Next up, we've got the Colts at home to them Raiders. Them awful, horrendous Raiders. Sorry, not sorry. 88% of the public have backed the Colts. The other 12% clearly Raiders fans, not accepting that they're awful. I've gone for the Colts. Steve's gone for the Colts. Lee, who are you going for and why?
I'm going for those Colts. It's simple. It's 3-1 Colts versus the 1-3 Raiders. So
do you think the Raiders will finish with more than 7 wins this season?
No, no, they're picking in the top 10 of the draft next year. So they're not accumulating more than 3 wins this year, I don't think. They may heat up a little bit. They may get a few more as teams start taking their foot off the gas as they're coasting into the playoffs. That's where they can probably steal a few games. But yeah, I can't see the Raiders competing this year. Not with the team that they've got.
Okay. Well, next up we've got the Panthers versus the Dolphins. This is actually quite a split public vote. 58% of the public, as well as myself, have backed the Panthers. 42% of the public and Steve have backed the Dolphins. I just think it's a battle of two really bad teams this game. Neither of the teams fill me full of confidence. I'm not looking forward to watching either of these two teams play. Who are you picking here, mate?
I'd rather watch paint dry than
Yeah.
watch this game, I think. And it was a coin toss. And I think the only reason I've favoured this team is because of the injury from Tyreek Hill. I think that's one less weapon for Tua to find, and I think the Panthers are going to get their second win of the season.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you, mate. Their
I mean,
teams.
did you see the image? The dislocated knee.
Oh my God, mate, that was so bad. Like I was watching because when I usually watch these clips is when I'm sat on the loo. I'll be honest. So like when next day you're watching different games. When I seen that, that's like. But like the thing is I think when you get an injury like that, you never come back the same.
No, I mean
Like,
that's a full knee reconstruction.
yeah,
that's
yeah.
I
mean, look,
yeah.
will he come back? More than likely, will he be the same? Absolutely not.
I
Absolutely
mean,
not.
historically, look at people like OBJ and
Yeah,
Diggs and all those outstanding star players who suffered these sort of ACL injuries or whatever. I mean that is he's not coming back as a Dolphin. Let's
no,
face it.
no.
He's going to be on another team next year, but will he be in the same caliber as what he was when he was at the Chiefs and early doors of the Dolphins? I think he's done now.
Yeah. Next game. For me, game of the week. Clearly, some people have got an agenda against me because 50%, 57% of the public have picked the Eagles. I don't know why. I've clearly picked the better team and the winners, the Denver Broncos. They best win because this game's on my bloody birthday.
43%. Is that how many people have voted for the Broncos?
Yes, 43%.
Honestly, they've been on the old red wine too much, haven't they? That's their problem.
How do you know that's what I've been drinking?
How do I know you so well?
Do you know what? I was at a wedding on Saturday. I'll keep this dead short. And I drank a full bottle of red wine before I went out. And anyway, I hadn't really eaten that much. And then I get to like this venue. I'm like, wow, this red wine's really kicked in. So when I got like 2 bottles Prosecco and 14 Jaeger bombs later, and I can't remember getting home, I was singing Bella Ciao to the Italian pizzeria guy. My wife was not happy with my dancing the next day. Anyway, back to it. No, look, I think this is going to be a brilliant game. I think Broncos. Look. If I'm in that Bronco team, I'm saying, look, we've lost 2 games in the last 30 seconds of a game by field goals. We've got 2 wins. We know we've got a great defense. We've got a great offense that's just turned up until the Broncos are very much, that offense is very much a momentum offense. So if we can get going early, great. But I do think we're going to do it, mate. I do think
you do. I mean, do you know what? I'm waiting. I look at the schedule and I'm like, who is going to beat the Eagles? And the Broncos, as well as a few other teams, are like they've got a hell of a chance. But
you're just being nice. You're just being nice, fella.
I
am being nice, mate. I am being nice. How it is.
But
Get angry.
I know that they're going to go 5-0. And it's going to be, unfortunately, mate, it's going to be another 1-score game. You're going to lose this by a couple of points. You know, the defense, your defense.
I'm not allowed to swear. I'm not allowed to swear. And do you know if I could swear, you'd be hearing it all.
But yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be a great game. It really is. I'm actually really looking forward to watching this because the Broncos' defense is incredible, and you know how your DC is going to play up against our offense. You know, shutting down AJ Brown. You know, the more people are doing that, the more it's coming in the news. The more frustrated he's getting. The more frustrated the Eagles fans are getting. You know, it plays on the locker room as a whole. So to see this unravel, you know, it's going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible to watch.
Question to you, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you win, which I don't think you will. At some point, you lot need to get beat, so you don't have that pressure of being unbeaten all season.
Do you know what I've been saying? That we need to lose a game. We need to lose a game.
Yeah, and if there's any game you want to lose, it's this one.
Well, I think we've got the Bills. I think we've got the Bills later on in the year. I think that's going to be another tough one to get
definitely over. Well, I'm not sure if I said this, so I'm going to repeat myself again. If I have seeing sense, seeing wisdom, has also picked the Denver Broncos to win, so that'll be a great game. Next one, 60% of the public have backed the Ravens to beat the Texans. I've backed the Ravens, and Steve has backed the Texans.
Yeah, that shocked me. When he backed the Texans, I was like, really?
I think, I think what it is, either I've done a mistake or he's just thinking about the defense. Now, I might have done a mistake because I'm prone to them, but I don't know.
No, this is the Ravens games to lose. You know, yeah, they had a poor performance last week, but they're 1-3. 1-3.
It's their defense, though. Their defense is sloppy as anything. Like them stats that Steve is sharing, like how bad they are. Like,
yeah, I mean, I've got some Ravens fans as well, and you know, I know for a fact that they're not happy. You know, they're 1-3. I mean, this is just absolutely. You know, if we were to show you that stat at the beginning of this, it laughed me all the way out of it. You know, it's unbelievable. 1-3. I don't think anyone has seen that one coming, and I think you know this is the week that they come off, and you know they start that fight back. You know, the transfer window's open now. You know, they can start looking into free agency, start looking at you know who they can pinch from other teams. You know, giving up some draft picks for. You know, we're going to definitely see some movement soon, and I think you know there's a lot of questions to be had over their defense.
Right, I've got a challenge for you here.
Go for it.
Okay, so there's 6 teams left that we've got to. Obviously, we're going to go over these quite quick until the end. But in one of these fixtures, 100% of the public have backed one of the teams. You are not allowed to cheat. You are not allowed to cheat.
I already know, mate. I already know which one it's going to be.
So, Cardinals versus Titans. Do you think this was the game?
This has got to be the game. Who in their crazy mind is going? Yeah, I think the Titans going to win. You're not. No.
90% of the public have backed the Cardinals to beat the Titans. 90%. I've voted the Cardinals. Steve's voted the Cardinals, and I assume you're voting the Cardinals?
I'm voting the Cardinals. Absolutely.
Right. We're moving on to the next one. The Seahawks against the Buccaneers.
No, I think this is going to be 50-50.
It's not.
No.
75% of the public have backed the Buccaneers to beat the Seahawks. I've backed the Seahawks. Steve has backed the Buccaneers. Who are you backing here, mate?
Seahawks. I think,
have
I?
No, you backed the Buccaneers.
I picked the Bucks. I don't know why I've circled the Seahawks.
Why are you making me edit the sheet, mate?
The Buccaneers.
Okay, next fixture. The Bengals against the Lions.
Yeah, this has got to be it. This has got to be it.
Now, just before you make your mind up on that, the other three fixtures: the Chargers, the Commanders, the Bills, and the Patriots, or the Jags and the Chiefs. So, Bengals and Lions. Do you think this is the one?
Yes, it's
Oh,
got to be. It's got to be. I don't. I think there's still some Pats fans out there who are going to be voting just for them.
and you're right. It is. It is. It is. 100% of the public have backed the Lions to beat the Bengals. I'm going to spoil this one for everyone. So have me, Lee, and Steve. Next up, we've got the Chargers at home to the Commanders. 63% of the public have backed the Chargers, as well as myself, as well as Steve. I just think the Commanders have really dipped this season. Lee, who are you backing here?
Yeah. So Chargers are. Yeah. Again, they're up in my power rankings. The Commanders dropped out of the top 10 this week. And for reasons that they're struggling at QB and their wide receiver core at the moment. I think once they come back to full health and they've got their identity back on offense, I think that may change. But against this Chargers team, who yes had a dip last week against a very rowdy MetLife Stadium with the New York Giants, I think that was just a blip. Like we say, every team's got to lose one game to take the pressure off, and
Yes.
I think this was
Or two in some cases.
two in some cases. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think this is the Chargers' resurgence, and they are going to absolutely pummel the Commanders.
Okay. 94% of the public backed the Bills to beat the Patriots.
Yeah,
Don't
there'd
ask
be
me.
some Patriot fans out there.
I'm not a Patriot, by the way. I'm certainly not one of them flag thinking Patriots. I have backed the Patriots here. So is Steve. So we're part of that 6%. One of us, what? 94% of the public with the Bills. Who are you backing, me?
I'm going for the Bills.
I
This is their game.
I think this is more me and Steve wanting the Bills to get beat rather than.
Yeah, it's there's two undefeated teams. The Bills and the Eagles.
Mhm.
Obviously that's going to change when we come head to head in a few weeks' time. One of us is going to lose, one of us is going to win. And I think up until that point, we will be undefeated. I think this is going to be, when we come to that week, it's going to be a massive game because it's going to be the final two undefeated teams playing each other.
Yeah.
I can't see looking at the Bills fixtures on any other game that they're going to lose. Yeah, I mean the Pats are the Pats. Like we said before, they're in a real rebuild year. And I think
it's not. I don't. I feel like it's a 2-3 year rebuild for them. They've
yeah,
lost.
yeah,
You
absolutely.
can't lose that quality of players and just like get them in like later on in the draft pick. It's just not going to happen. Right, let's go on to the last one. And no means the least, we've got the Jags against the Chiefs. 70% of the public have voted for the Chiefs. Steve, of course, he's voted for the Chiefs, and of course, I voted for the Jags. Please, please. So the Jags to beat the Chiefs. Who are you going with, mate?
Do you know what? I don't think I've voted for the Jags once since
No, you
this
haven't.
season has started, and I don't. I can't take the Jags seriously. Whether that's confidence in their QB or their offense, I don't know what it is, but looking at the performance from the Chiefs last week, that they've had Xavier Worthy back, and all of a sudden they're stretching the field, they're putting the targets back out there with Kelsey and the other guys, and yeah, my money's going to be back in the Chiefs on this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can't see anything to indicate that that would not be the case. I think it's going to be a great week for football. Where are you watching the fixtures this week, mate? At home or anywhere else?
I tend to watch Red Zone for the first slate of
Yeah.
games, and then I've got the DAZN DAZN, whatever you want to call it. DAZN.
Have you give Channel 5 stream a go yet?
Yeah, so I've watched that. I watched the Eagles versus the Bucks game on that one, and that was
It was
great
all
to
right. I
watch that.
enjoyed it.
Yeah. Obviously, I haven't watched it I've been watching my Eagles, on the red zone rather than that one. But yeah, I mean, it'd be great to see what other people think of it, But I think it's Dermot's doing all right. He's doing all right, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't mind him.
Do you know what? He's a cracking guy, and he's an expert baller. So I'm all
Should get
for
behind
it.
him. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's week 5 of the Audible. Folks, we thank you very much for listening, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, is it Amazon Prime or Amazon's playlists? I think we're on Apple as well.
Apple Podcast. Yeah, just leave
Yeah.
us some 5 stars, guys, if you like what you hear.
Yeah.
Leave us some comments as well.
Look at us get 1 star. That Bronco do me head in. It'll be all the readers. But yeah, so again, thank you very much, folks. We've been Audible. It is our birthday week. It's my birthday. It's Lee's birthday. It's Steve's birthday. We're gonna all go out, get off, and have lots of red wine and pick wrong picks again. But thank you very much. I've been Matteo.
I've been Lee.
We will see you next week, folks. Thank you very much. Have a great